Okay, Matt. Well, we're back. Um, I guess was gonna have to do a season recap on the Lakers eventually. I was just hoping it wouldn't have been after the first round of the playoffs. And I don't know if it's better or worse that I've had almost like a week to sit and think
I
because
think it's better. You get to really gather your thoughts. It's not
I
a
guess, but I don't
emotional
know. It's
rant.
yeah, I guess that's true. It won't be as shouldn't be as long of a rant, but I think we'll start with game five itself. So really, you look back at kind of the theme of the entire series was the Lakers. I mean, they were it, not like the Timberwolves necessarily overwhelmed, or I would even say are that much better than the Lakers. I mean, for the most part, close games, relatively close games. Um, but when it comes down to it, I think we saw a little bit more cohesion, a little bit more chemistry, and a little bit. It's hard to say want it more, but you could just tell that the Timberwolves had like an extra step or maybe an extra gear. And ultimately, that ended up in the Lakers losing in five, not winning in five. So that pretty much kills my, you know, Lakers going to the finals and winning the finals thing. So that dream is now dead. We have to look to the offseason now. That's the cold hard truth. And we'll get into game five, Matt. So I think what I was talking about before with the finishing, right? And especially in that game five when they have a lead, going into the fourth quarter, double digits at one point. With Minnesota shooting as poorly as they did, it was like all we needed down the stretch was just someone to like hit the dagger, essentially, right? And I think we saw Luka have a chance, we saw LeBron have a chance, multiple chances, and just couldn't put the Wolves away. And it's unfortunate because I thought our defense, was relatively pretty good, especially in that game five. I mean, held them to only 103 points. You take a look at their shooting. I mean, they shot 7 of 47 from the field, except no one could guard Rudy Gobert. And
Yeah, he turned
like
into prime Shaq.
of all guys to lose to, when Ant just goes off, kind of like he did in that game four, especially, right? You just got to tip your cap. And, he's a superstar. Seems like he's poised to take that jump from, just a talented player to perennial playoff contender, elevating himself to the top of the league kind of player at such a young age. But when it's guys like Rudy Gobert, especially, and it just stings looking back at how everything kind of played out since the trade of Luka, right? Try to get Mark Williams. Lakers got scared of the physical. And then you kind of look at that trade specifically. Dalton Connect contributes nothing because he doesn't touch the floor. And here we are getting exploited without playing Jackson Hayes, our other big, I guess you could say. And, Maxi Kleber getting 5 minutes. So when Rudy Gobert is going to get almost 25 and 25, 27 and 24 in a closeout game on the road, it's just pretty disheartening, um, disappointing, and Yeah, we'll get into some of the details itself, Matt. So game plan wise, I thought we'll start with JJ as usual. I'm not exactly sure now because I've heard different reports. I've heard he told Jackson, you're not going to play. And I'm hearing things like, oh, I think Jackson said we're going to go in a different direction, but stay ready just in case. So not entirely sure what happened, but ultimately Jackson Hayes doesn't play, period. And not sure what the logic is there, right? We're going to give Maxi Kleber 5 minutes when he hasn't played for us yet. Is it a trust thing? Is it we really don't trust Jackson Hayes, who I thought has played well since Luka's come over? I mean, his numbers went up right away, right? So just confusing. I'm not sure. I heard JJ's explanation was, we had no offense when Jackson Hayes was on the floor. But I understand, okay, maybe we don't have that same shooting capability and you feel like we need to make threes to compete with Minnesota. But at what point do we go, hey, Rudy Gobert is killing us. We can't get an offensive rebound. Maybe let's get in some height on a few defensive possessions, you know. And Jackson Hayes has been kind of one of those energy guys as well for us. And I thought out of the gate, I mean, I couldn't even tell you that how the Lakers were playing, that we were in a game 5 elimination game. I thought we came out flat in the first quarter, almost like there was no sense of urgency, which is pretty disappointing coming from vets like LeBron, Luca, Austin. Like I think Rui had the most or some of the most production in that first quarter too. So I mean, he had the dunk on Gobert earlier that kind of got the crowd going. But other than that, it felt pretty flat in that first quarter. They stabilized a little bit in the second, but I'm like, I'm sitting there going, are we just conceding? Is that it? Like we're gonna just go out sad? You know, LeBron, you're not getting any older. Are you content now with how your career is gonna play out? I don't know. I don't know. I don't. Yeah, a lot of things are going through my mind at that moment. And like I said, it's not when you're getting outplayed, but no energy, no like give me something. At least know that we're competing out there in a game 5 elimination game at home. So that I thought set the tone pretty poorly. Luckily we did come back. It's like the third quarter. Oh yeah, shoot, wait, our season really could end now. Let's start, you know, playing like it's our last game and turn it on a little bit. But I think I don't know it. This game was so disheartening for me from a JJ fan perspective. I think because one, you can go X's and O's. You scratch your head with first of all the starting lineup, but it's when it doesn't work, And I talked about it the whole year. Oh, JJ has been so good at realizing what works, what doesn't work. He makes adjustments, blah blah blah. But it's like we're letting Rudy Gobert feast on us, and we're not making any adjustments. We don't even throw Jackson Hayes to see if it'll help. It's like we were so set on we really can't get any offense, but we didn't even score 100 points, so it's not like we had any offense anyway, right? With the small lineup, so just the lack of adjustments, I think, was pretty disappointing. And then on top of that, I don't know because it seems like JJ had the guys ready to go, fired up. Uh, Especially at times during the regular season, he gets pretty into it. But I don't want to say as a motivator, I'm a little, like hesitant now to question his ability. But how do we come out that flat in a in an elimination? Like I just don't understand how it can happen, especially for an entire quarter. Like I want 2, 3 minutes of you know minimal effort. We're calling a timeout, and something's got like go yell at them again, or something's got to change. Get some energy guys in there from early or something, man. Because I was really disappointed in the lack of effort, especially in that first half. Um, and like I said, he played, Vando and Gabe Vincent a lot more. Um, but I think that I'm not going to get too much on him for, I don't want to say late game execution, but really this group hasn't had a ton of time to play together and work through all the kinks that, a full regular season can give you. So I'm not going to kill him there. I think you reevaluate, um, decide how you want to play moving forward and go from there to the offseason. I'm not going to put it all on him, I guess, for how we execute, especially in the fourth quarter for every game, even though it was bad. He deserves some blame. I'm not going to put it all on him. So that's what I got for JJ, Matt. Uh, and then getting into the star players. I mean, it's always hard when season ends, right? No one's 100%. I get that, right? But I mean, is this not the classic LeBron thing where now that the series is over, he's hurt? I will say though, this time I think it's different because that looked really bad. The knee injury he had on the court, I genuinely thought that was like, I was praying no ACL, MCL type of thing in real time. But the fact that he still played, I was like, okay, he must be good. But in real time, it looked bad. I mean, his knee bent sideways, right? So I was like, ooh, that actually is a really surprise he's like up right now and walking. But they said, right, he probably would have been out the rest of the series. So realistically, I don't know. We're probably cooked anyway in the series after that because even if we somehow win without LeBron, I don't think this team was going to win another game anyway. And then the Austin Reeves thing comes out, right? Like he's playing with a toe thing. Normal timeline was 2 to 3 weeks. I mean, maybe it makes a little bit of sense because it just wasn't that same Austin we were used to seeing. I get it. I just don't understand why it comes out after. Like, does it give the other team an advantage? Maybe. I don't know. That's how they decided to go about it, right? But injuries aside, Matt, you're in the playoffs. Like, whoever's out there on the court, it comes down to you producing as injured you are or not. If you're gonna hide that from the team, that's pretty selfish, right? That you're hurting the team by not giving your full 100% that you maybe a healthier guy could. So I don't know, like I don't want to get too much into the conspiracies of who knew what and whatever. All I know is when we were out there on the court, it wasn't good enough, period. Um, and I'll look at a lot of the guys throughout the series. I actually thought LeBron played pretty well throughout the entire series. Like I said, couldn't come up with the big bucket at the end of game five, but I mean, he kept them in game three with his shooting. Game four, we talked about it last week. Oh, he doesn't score. He doesn't score in the fourth. He take a shot attempt, whatever. We saw the effort he was putting in on defense, game changing plays, right? Game altering plays on the defensive end. And I thought, in the fourth quarter too, game five, he was right in the middle of a lot of, you know, pretty big stops for them. But couldn't hit the big shot, so I'm not gonna kill him. I mean, Luka on defense, man, it's abysmal. I think, I get the trade-off that he can give you offensively, but it is really difficult to watch him play defense because he literally can't stay in front of anyone on the court. Um, they take advantage of him. It's like they attack him every single time, and there's no adjustment because he literally can't guard anyone one on one out there. So as much as the offense is great, like we saw them go after him time and time again down the stretch. And I don't know. I don't know. Is he going to get in better shape? I don't know. Maybe this is just what we have to accept with him on our team, and really have to adjust from there. Then obviously the third guy, Matt, Austin Reeves, the toe, okay, I get it, but if you're going to be out there, we need him to produce, especially in this small lineup that we're going to play, right? And this ISO ball we're going to play. Um, I don't know if the toe was making him question himself or whatever, but through the entire series, like we talked about, hesitant, not, aggressive until he absolutely has to be. I mean, there was a stretch in the year where he was averaging what, like 25, 30 points a game for 2 weeks, and we just
That was
lost
with
that
LeBron and Luca
with
on the floor
LeBron and
too.
Luca, and we just lost that AR, which I think was ultimately the thing, that X factor that killed us. Because I mean, Rui stepped up offensively, I thought, in this series. I think that's pretty much two or three playoff series in a row now. Rui just somehow shoots lights out in the playoffs from three. I don't know what it is, but he was definitely their best shooter without a doubt in this series. Hit I don't know, I can't even call them big shots because they ended up losing, but hit the shots that would keep them in the game, I guess. Unfortunately, the thing about Rui, he's not so, laterally quick or whatever. So defensively, I thought he played okay. I think he can shore up on the rebounding side a little bit more, but like that's not what he's out there to do. He's out there to go put points up, right? Um, and then the other thing, I mean, bench and other scoring was just terrible. Like Dorian Finney-Smith, I thought shot terribly in the series. He made a couple big shots here and there, but really used to him seeing hit more of those open threes. And then even like Gabe Vincent never really could get in a rhythm. Kind of hard when he's not playing out there. And yeah, so I guess player wise, Matt, still disappointing overall. Um, and then you just saw Minnesota, like I said, just looked more experienced together, right? Julius Randle, I thought had a huge series. I think he's a really big reason why they ended up winning this series because of how well he played. Um, Especially in this game five when Ant really didn't have it going. He took a lot of the scoring uh duties along with Gobert inside. So I mean, Anthony Edwards, 15 points, 0 for 11 from three. That's a game you should win like almost every single time. So the fact that he doesn't hit a single three and we still lose at home is pretty sad. So I think it was time to turn the child. It's time to you know look ahead to the off season. Um, Giving out grades, I guess, on the year, really as a collective unit. Obviously, no championship. I'll give them like a D, I guess. Uh, I would say F,
Kind of
but
harsh.
no way, man. This is a LeBron James
A
led team.
D?
I'm sorry. You get bounced in the first round. Um, that's the reality, right? It's championship or bust every single time. Not gonna give them a C for effort. Like, you guys, it was disappointing. It was just disappointing. We lose in 5 games, Matt. I don't know. That's pretty disappointing to me. It's one thing to not reach the Western Conference Finals. Another thing to get bounced in the first round with home court advantage in 5 games. So to me, that's a pretty disappointing end to the season, um, especially with all the hype that looked like we were going to have rolling into the playoffs. JJ himself, I'll give him like, I think I would say as a first year, objectively speaking, I'm in between like a B minus, probably like a B minus range. I thought playoff inexperience kind of showed for him and how he chose to adjust, but he did lead this team to a 3 seed um, in his first year in a really tough conference. So yeah, I'll give him, and having to make an adjustment, losing Anthony Davis, who essentially was, your the whole game plan was AD has to get a touch every single time to now shifting from it's another thing if it's another dominant big that comes in, but Luka ball dominant guard, you have to change up your whole play style essentially, make it work post All-Star break going into the playoffs. Right? That's a raw like completely changes your entire schematic of how you're gonna play both sides of the ball. Anthony Davis, top five rim protector, top five defensive player of the year candidate, every year. So that adjustment, to previous years where it's like, oh, they're just missing a piece. They're missing a piece, and they make a tweak and they go on the run. They don't really change their play style too much. I think such a blockbuster trade like that, when it affects both sides of the ball so heavily, is really hard to adjust to in a short amount of time. And I think it kind of bit them in the butt come playoff time. And I can't put that all on JJ, right? So I'll say for what he had to handle in that first year, a lot of pressure. I'll give him a B minus. But yeah, as a team overall, I'm talking, sorry, when I say team, I'm talking about the Lakers organization for this year alone, right? Because you go out and make the trade. Okay, maybe we'll look back in 5 years. Because obviously the Luka trade, it's something for the future, right? They're thinking long term with this thing, post LeBron, hopefully for many more years to come. But if I'm strictly looking at it this year, we had a championship window. Um, you know, had a lot of aspirations going in, was playing really well post trade, especially that Knicks game. I'll never forget that Knicks game without AD when he got hurt. I thought they were finally hitting their stride. Then boom, the big trade drops. I think that just completely tanked the outlook of the year. Um, but that's why I'm going to give it a D just for this year. Like I said, long term, I can understand the thinking, but when you go into the year thinking what you're going to accomplish, and you get bounced in the first round with home court advantage. Like I'm sorry, but that's like a D in my book. So, um, yeah, I don't know. Pretty disappointing, with all the hype. And, I mean, maybe we have one, maybe 2 more years, maybe two with LeBron, Matt, like going into this offseason. Obviously, you need to address the big, but now it's like we're back to square one, where it's like, we kind of figured out the formula of how we want to win. Now, I think it's going to be a lot of cohesion between the guys that are for sure untouchable. So, got to be Rob, JJ, Luca, and LeBron. And it's coming together and figuring out how they want to play this offseason, what gives them the best chance to win, and tweaking the roster from there. I really don't think anyone else is untouchable. Even Austin Reeves, who I think is still on a bargain deal for the production he can give us. But, at a certain point, nothing ends AR. But if Luca is not going to be able to guard anyone one on one, then we have to go out and get defensive minded guys, like, period. As much as Austin Reeves has improved as a defender, he's not an elite ball stopper, right? And I think, unfortunately, if nothing changes on Luca's end, that's what we need. We're gonna need guys like that. So it's either gonna be Rui, it's either gonna be AR, Dorian Finney-Smith, or a combination of several guys to go out, make moves. Sounding like it's gonna be a pretty or a lot of movement in the league. So I guess we'll have to just see how free agency and the offseason goes, Matt. But obviously, a lot of changes need to be made. I don't know who they're going to get, but I'm sure that getting a center or defensive minded big is going to be up there. And if we know anything about the NBA, especially over the last, 10 years or so, we know that essentially no player is safe. Um, and, the blockbusters I'm sure, will happen this summer. So we'll see what the roster looks like for next year, Matt. But yeah, I guess I'll just be waiting for next year because can finally turn the page. Season's over. Sorry, I know that was kind of a long rant, but done with Lakers
Yeah, to let you
for
go. I
for
didn't want to
now. But
interrupt. I didn't I didn't want to interrupt.
yeah,
But I'll say one thing. Like I'm not gonna go into my opinion and everything, but I will say one thing that was really frustrating was going back to JJ. I think that was the part that made the loss kind of tough because really you go back to game 4 is when, he had that controversial decision. Oh, I'm going to play five guys for an entire half of basketball and we're just going to do or die with that. And, if that's his decision, so be it. But take own up to it, Like I got I don't have the problem like do I agree with it? No. But if that's what they were discussing, the coaching staff agree on it, then okay, whatever. They know basketball better than we do, so it didn't work. So be it. But you have to come out and take ownership of your decision, like whether it's a good decision or a bad decision. And most of the times, it's when things go wrong, is when your coach kind of just you got to take one for the team there. Like it's a tough loss. Like just say, hey, like we tried it, it didn't work. It's my fault. I'll take accountability on this decision, but we'll be better. But it seems like from game 4 and then into game 5, it's just a lot of like, I'm JJ Redick. I know basketball better than you. I'm gonna outsmart you. Like, I don't really care what anybody else thinks, which is in a way kind of good, but it's kind of like just his way or nothing. That's just the way it comes across to the public. And the game 5 thing, you touched on it. He's we don't know the true report, but Jackson Hayes gets booted to the bench. Not only booted to the bench, goes DNP when you got Rudy Gobert looking like prime Shaq out there. Um, like, where's the adjustment? Like, you can't. They're just letting Rudy Gobert go 1-on-1 against Finney Smith or Hashimura. It's like they're too small. They can't box him out. And the only way you can box him out is you get a taller guy in there, or it's a kind of like a team rebounding thing. But as we've kind of seen, it hasn't been working for the Lakers like that. So sometimes you just need a dude to just clean up the mess. And he tried Maxi Kleba, but I was texting you like, "Oh, Maxi Kleba, this is going to be X Factor game." But that was before I realized that they said that he never practiced with the Lakers, which was like I thought he was
Yeah,
like practicing on the side, kind of walk going through walkthroughs and stuff, taking it slow. But they said he never even practiced. So what? Was he just shooting around at practice? Like that's a little iffy. And I get it. Like Maxi Kleba he's a weapon because he's you could say like a stretch 4, small 5, but he can shoot the three, so he can space you out offensively and still be kind of like a big body just to bang around inside defensively. But if you're gonna play him 2 minutes in the first half and that's it, then how is he supposed to do something in 2 minutes? And then all of a sudden you're gonna throw him in the fire of the game in the fourth quarter? Like that's kind of unfair to him. Like, you know, like he's probably thinking, oh, I had my run in 2 minutes, so be it. Dorian Finney-Smith's gonna go in, whatever. But Maxi Kleba in there in that situation, I don't know about that. Um, and just that was the part to me. It's just the decisions and taking ownership. Like I just never heard it from JJ even after the game. Like take some accountability with your decisions because you're the coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. Like these big market teams, it's like if you're Bill Belichick of the Patriots, you're Andy Reid of the Chiefs, or you can say Dave Roberts, Aaron Boone, like can go to all these teams. Managers have to take accountability for things that don't go wrong. That's just the nature of the game. And I think that honestly just kind of costed them because game 5 was totally winnable if you get 2 or 3 extra rebounds and prevent Minnesota from getting second chance points because yeah, Minnesota didn't shoot great. You could say, well, yeah, we played so good defensively, but 7 of 47 from three. But how many of those missed threes did they get back and get a putback or they got fouled? Like that's in itself points that you're giving them for free just because you're so stuck on your way that we have to play five out. We don't have a big that I don't understand. Um, so that's something that I hope that he's going to learn from going into his second year because I think the pressure is really going to take, first year, everybody gets kind of like a pass. But second year, if the Lakers do this again, if this was JJ's second year, yeah, I don't know. That's hot seat
Yeah,
in Lakerland, I will
I
say.
agree.
So
No, I definitely agree. So we'll see. Like I said, the reason I didn't kill him though, Matt, was that I mean the Luka trade was huge, right? Completely shifted the entire dynamic of how they're going to play. But going to offseason, I expect communication between his coaching staff, and the front office, as long as the top dogs we know who they are on the team. But we need to all be on the same page, I think, going forward, and we need to acquire the pieces that are necessary to round this team out. Because yeah, no excuse next year. I mean, could be LeBron's last year for all we know. More realistically now than ever. So we really gotta get things down before he goes, and then it's kind of like, where do we go from here?
I
So
genuinely think Luca has to just like it's just get in shape. He just has to get in shape
I mean, and even JJ
because
hinted at that, right? Like, we need to get in championship level shape. Period. So,
yeah. But
Luca
that's
coming off
that's
the
JJ
injury,
having to take accountability too.
yeah, yep. But yeah, Luca coming off the injury, LeBron, I think he knows how to exert his energy the right way, uh, to where he needs to. But yeah, the rest of the guys too, just need to be ready for the playoff moments that come. So I think we'll wrap it on the Lakers right there, Matt. We can move on to the rest of the league, even though I don't care anymore who ends up winning or not. But I guess we got to talk about it. So we'll run through really quick the rest of the first round that hadn't completed yet. So the Nuggets end up beating out the Clippers in seven. I think did we both call seven? I think we both
We
called
both
in
called it.
seven. So you know, I think more to your credit, Matt, the reasoning behind it, right? Because I think you said you just need to see it from the beard, and he had his chance again, once again. Game seven, elimination game. He has a pretty good series overall, I think. Um, 7 points, 8 shot attempts from James Harden in game seven. I mean, you just can't have it, right? Like, I get the team is really talented, trying to play team basketball and all that stuff, but I mean, when it's winning time, like there are just times where it's like, I am still an elite level player. Give me the ball, get out of my way. I'll go put up points. If there's ever going to be a time to do that, right? Isn't I think that's going to be in game seven. So, pretty disappointing. I think for the way the Clippers season to end. I thought they, had some championship level, caliber, to be honest. I was a little bit worried. Like I said, I didn't care who won that series. Um, I was gonna be sad and happy either way, I guess. But that Aaron Gordon tip in dunk game ended up being huge. And I mean, just pretty sad way for the Clippers to go out, I think, on what was a pretty promising year, like Zubac had a resurgence. Kawhi Leonard has looked as good as he's looked in the past several years. The emergence of Norman Powell, all for it to amount to not, pretty much nothing. You don't get out of the first round in the playoffs. And I mean, you really have to look at James Harden now, Matt. There's a trend here, right? Even going back to his days in Brooklyn, but more than anything, going back to his days in Houston when he was an MVP, had chances, to put even those Warriors teams away. And, he would have these really great playoff moments against these other teams, but when it's time, when the lights are the brightest, just doesn't, I guess, show up to the moment, if you could say that. Uh, but my thing, more than
Okay.
anything, 8 shot attempts. Like, I get he had 13 assists. I get it. But when you're struggling on offense, isn't there a certain point where you just say, like, I got to get shots? How are we letting Derrick Jones Jr. have more shot attempts than us in a game seven? Like, it just can't happen, right? So, pretty disappointing way for the Clippers series to end. But Denver, I mean, they just find a way. Mike Mike Malone, no Mike Malone. I guess you got the Joker. Um, Good things are gonna happen. And he didn't even have one of his amazing games, but I think this is when Denver is really the scariest when they got all five, six guys working for them, right? When Christian Brown's hitting shots, Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr. are knocking down shots, like then they're pretty much unstoppable, honestly, because then Jokic doesn't even have to really do anything. Um, and the ball is just flowing and moving around. And yeah, like I said, that's when I think they're the scariest. But yeah, pretty disappointing, I think, for the Clippers, how
Yeah, I
everything
think
ended.
their window is definitely, I would argue it's closed because they're a team that's ready to win now with their stars. And given Kawhi Leonard's history, you kind of have to take that into account. Like, is he going to be able to be this good over an 82 game season and then make a playoff push after that, where minutes are basically double the intensity? Like, I don't know. And then obviously Harden, he's the quote unquote Robin of this team. Yeah, like uh, Houston, you go back to Brooklyn, Philadelphia, and now the Clippers. This is what, four teams already. I'll give him a pass for OKC. I mean, he was, a young buck there. Wasn't the main guy, you could say. But now four teams already had pivotal game sevens, and he comes up small. And to your credit, he took 8 shots. And I'll say this: if you're gonna lose, wouldn't you at least want to go down swinging? Like, take 20 shots sometimes, especially right if your team is struggling. It's not working. Sometimes you just need your superstar to get you a couple buckets, to get everybody to kind of believe and get energized. Like, yeah, like, I got this. Like, let me carry us. Like, you guys just get a rhythm and just hit a couple big shots for me. But you know what? I got this, guys. Just keep us in the game. No, that's not what it was for James Harden. It's going to be hard to win a game seven when your best, you could say your best offensive player. I guess you could make say Kawhi, but 8 shots, like you're not going to do anything with that. So I think the Clippers with the West too, like it's a very young league in the West. Unless you're Steph Curry, I would even I wouldn't even put LeBron in that. Like, Luca's there. Um, Obviously, Ant, Shea, Jokic is still there. The Rockets are young. They're hungry. They're going to be good. Wemby is coming up on the rise. I mean, there's a lot of young talent. So I think the Clippers they just can't get over that hump. I mean, maybe it's just partial basketball gods do not want the Clippers to ever overtake the Lakers in LA. But sadly, I think this window is closed because this was probably, I would argue, this was their best shot, even with the Kawhi PG era. Like, maybe other than that first year, but this was a really, really good team. They had the big, Kawhi was back and healthy. They had defenders. They had nice complementary pieces off the bench, and you get ousted by a Denver team that not as deep as we normally are accustomed to. So just kind of a disappointing end. That's all I'll say for the Clippers. But the Nuggets, I don't care. Maybe we can coach the Nuggets as long as Jokic is on the team. You just say, hey, you run the team.
Yeah.
But I'll take the credit for the wins and losses.
Yeah. I mean, that dude is just different. We'll talk about game one tonight, in a little bit, Matt. But, uh, yeah, James Harden struggling as of late. In his last 13 elimination games, 2-11, and seven out of those last 13, he shot or he scored fewer than 20 points. Seven of the last
Yikes.
13 elimination games under 20 points, which is
And
just
people
sad
said
because,
he's better than Dwayne Wade.
I mean, regular season, maybe you could argue that for sure. The run, that offensive prime that James Harden had in Houston was legendary. But I mean, D Wade is a what, three-time champ,
3-time champ.
so he'll have that, I guess. But moving on, Matt, to the other game seven out in the West. Uh, sorry, Warriors and Rockets. I mean, I think we both called this one too, right? Warriors in seven, or at least I think I had him in seven. Did you have him in seven too?
I think I had him in 6.
Okay. Well, either way, we ended up having the Warriors. I mean, it came down to essentially how we said it was gonna go down. You know, I just thought Houston not quite ready, and you've been calling them that Memphis team of a couple years ago. Fred VanVleet, I thought, had an outstanding game six and seven, kept them in it. But you saw that that veteran leadership mattered, that, poised to stay in that moment. Um, and then unfortunately, just not quite enough from Houston superstars. Like Jalen Green had one good game out of
Oh my
seven,
god. He was
but man,
that
he
was
was
hard to
awful.
watch.
For most of
Yeah.
it, he was awful, especially in that game seven. Um, which it just blows my mind because he's so athletic and he has so much talent, right? But just had a terrible series outside of one game, like I said. Um, and I thought, that Steven Adams and Şengün duo worked well for them, in those moments. And I really like Şengün. I think he's gonna be that consistent piece. You could just see when they needed a bucket, like let's just go to him. He'll find a way to get us two somehow. Going up again, and he was banging with Draymond, uh, whoever they were throwing at him, and he wasn't scared at all, right? So I
Yeah.
think Şengün's going to be one of the pivotal pieces for the future. A lot of developmental guys. Jabari Smith, I think, continues to improve every year. Uh, Jalen Green and or at least Jalen Green offensively, just being more consistent. It's going to be huge for them moving forward. And then I think if Amon or if either of the Thompson twins, really, let's say, start to shoot from 15 to 18 and eventually get a three ball, like that, they're all stars, I think. So, Amon, if he can get a jump shot of any kind this offseason, like he could be an all star. And I think that could take his team to the next level as well. Because watching those two dudes play basketball, it's like ridiculous how athletic they are. So,
They play
um,
both ways too.
yeah, like elite defenders. Um, I mean, Amon could have been defensive player of the year. I think he was one of the finalists, right? So, or maybe it was
Was
was it
he?
most improved. No, no,
Most
no. But I
improved?
think he finished in the top five of voting, something like that. So yeah, he wasn't a finalist, but I know he was up there. But anyway, I think just Jimmy, Steph, and then the random Buddy Hield explosion was enough for Golden State. I think we just leaned on their veteran leadership a little bit more, their playoff experience, and I think it paid off for them over the course of seven games. But I think Houston is a scary team. Like I'm not sold on the Grizzlies as much, because I don't think they've gotten a lot better, but I can see this Houston team continuing to have exponential growth. Like, I don't think they're going to stop here. I do think that with that culture and that team, they will continue to get better. And yeah, the West needs to be put on high alert because Houston, I think, for the next several years are going to be a serious threat out west, but
They're going to
just
look a
not
lot
quite.
different, I think. It's going to be a different roster after they kind of just flamed out. They had game 7 in their house. They had the Warriors on the ropes, possibly blowing another 3-1 lead. And then just the offensive performance was major eyesore on TV. And you said it already, Jalen Green. That's kind of the piece that everybody's looking at. Like, if you just came to show up literally one game, you guys move on. That's how they're close. They were so close, and yet they were so bad at the same time. So I think they're going to go out. They're going to get someone that's going to be consistent, and everybody is going to say it. But I mean, KD is just like that, just seems like a perfect fit for this team. If you just swap Jalen Green and KD, give them a couple first round picks. I mean, Phoenix is kind of like they're kind of stuck, right? They don't really have a future. So hey, maybe we take a chance on Jalen Green. He develops with Book. We get a couple first round picks. Maybe we'll hit on one of those two, and get a nice like a Men Thompson kind of piece, maybe. Then maybe we can compete with Books like back into the prime. So that's like I feel like there's a win-win for both sides, I think, because imagine if KD was on the Rockets, you swap out Jalen Green with KD on this current team. They beat the Warriors hands down in these close games. KD, nobody's gonna guard KD on Golden State. I don't care if it was Draymond. I mean, those guys probably had how many battles, back in the day. They know each other, and if there's really one dude that you cannot stop, it's Kevin Durant's jumper. Kevin Durant shooting the mid range is impossible to guard. So that to me is what the Rockets need, just that guy that can bail them out. Because Fred VanVleet, yeah, he played great, but he's another one. He's very inconsistent.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Brooks can catch a heater sometimes, but kind of the same thing. Roller coaster. Jalen Green is the biggest roller coaster on the team. So they need more stability. And what better stability than the most efficient bucket in NBA history, Kevin Durant. So I think the Rockets are going to look a lot different, whether it's KD or not, because are you going to push your chips in with Jalen Green or look elsewhere? I don't know. The NBA and really a lot of leagues, we're very impatient, right? Guys just either bloom, burst into stars, or they just don't have it. And I'm not saying Jalen Green is like a scrub or anything. Like he's obviously talented enough to be in this league and be a good player in this league, but can he be that number one guy that can lead you in scoring, lead a team to a championship? I don't know. I don't know about that. So Houston has a lot of things to figure out. But the Warriors, man, they very impressed. Very impressed with the Warriors, I must say. They just know how to win in crunch time. When it's close, Steph Curry is just a different beast right now.
Yeah, although I will say Steph, I mean, didn't need to do a ton in that game 7. It's going to look good in another elimination game, but I mean, they were already up pretty big without him contributing much of anything, Matt.
Well,
So
I think he wasn't shooting the ball well. Like he had a pretty poor shooting performance. And then when Houston kind of was, like creeping back in, they cut it to three. That's when Steph Curry kind of like he hit a couple shots and then, that's all it takes for him to get going. So he did it in the fourth when they needed it most, I think. Because Buddy Hield was the guy keeping them in the game and
yeah, that's
giving
what
them
I
the
was going to
lead
say. It was kind of
in the first
Buddy,
half,
the Buddy show, but yeah,
right?
Steph. Steph showed up
Steph is the
when
closer.
yeah, but he didn't feel closing with up 10 points. I mean, I guess, but you know, I don't know. I'm not saying Steph played bad or anything, but I don't think he needed to do a ton. Not a lot of, you know, pressure, close tie game situation. Not I know he can do that. I'm just saying in this game seven, you know, I'm not like, oh, the Warriors are so impressive. Like I just think Houston looked not as not as playoff ready, maybe, as some of the other teams. Like looking at it now, um, Houston probably one of the weaker seeds out of the eight remaining. Like when you look at how all the series kind of have played out, let's say the Lakers too. So would have been fun to see Houston and the Lakers because I mean they're probably the two worst teams in the West. Well,
Or
like
the
when
Grizzlies.
or okay, well yeah, like I just forgot about the Grizzlies, um, but yeah, I think Houston um will be there, but yeah, just not quite this year. They're not quite ready. But let's get to some previews, Matt. A lot of most of the game ones uh already happened, so we'll start in the East because I mean I think both these series are going to be end up being pretty good. But after today, it is now 1-0 to the Dogs on in both these series, and I think the Pacers one, I'm not as surprised as the Knicks one. Uh, Something about this Cleveland team that I don't want to say they're just like, you know, a regular season team, but don't get me wrong, Donovan Mitchell is a star, but is he capable of being like one of those top 10 guys that can put a team on his back? We've seen the crazy outburst that he had when he was in Utah, but I don't know, maybe he's just surrounded by more talent now. He doesn't have to put on that Superman cape as much. But it just feels like Cleveland is just set up to like crumble. I don't know. Maybe that's not fair, but um, I think my prediction. I'm gonna give Cleveland the nod here, Matt. I just think that they kind of got hit in the mouth after blowing out um the. I was gonna say the Magic. Who did they play in the? See, I can't even remember the Heat.
They played the
They
Heat.
blew the Heat out in four. Like it wasn't very competitive, and Indiana I think was just ready a little more battle tested, coming off their series with Milwaukee, and I think Cleveland just kind of got caught, you know, in that game one. Tyrese hit some big shots. Nemhard hit a big shot, stole game one. But I think now Cleveland's like it's like after a good boxer gets hit, right? It's like oh shoot, like I can get punched. Okay, like now that's kind of the wake up game if you want to call it for Cleveland. Um, so I think I still like them, but I think this is going to be a fun like 6 or 7 game series. I'm going to go Cleveland. I just think that when all their guys get you know playoff battle tested and ready, I still really like this roster. Like I like Indiana too, but I really, really like this Cleveland roster and the defense that they played and the offense that they can display. So I just think they got too much depth, to be
I think
honest.
I think well, I'll say this. It depends on Darius Garland. I think that's a big injury piece that's really gonna make or break the series, in my opinion, because I think he was hurt in the Heat series. Like they just kind of like whatever, like just relax. like we got this, like don't worry. But he didn't play in game one. I don't know. I didn't hear anything about his timeline for return. Maybe he comes back in game two, but I really don't know. And if he comes back, how effective is he going to be? So if he's healthy, I think Cleveland will win. But if he's not, I think Indiana can obviously take that. So with that, kind of in as a factor now with this injury. I'm going to lean more towards Indiana. I think, obviously, they're up a game, so a little easy to say, but I just think Donovan Mitchell as like the guy. I don't know. I don't know if I can buy into that stock. Because I've seen games where Mitchell he's gonna shoot like 40 times a game. It's like him or nothing. But the Cavs, they got good pieces. Like I know Ty Jerome is a good piece, but you want to get him involved a little bit. Maybe not being the guy taking the last shots deep in crunch time, but
They
he's a
got
good
guys,
piece.
man. Max
Uh,
Strus.
Strus can hit a big three.
Oh my God, I just had his name. From
Then
Atlanta.
Hunter,
Daniil Hunter, yeah. Or not Daniil
Hunter,
Hunter. DeAndre Hunter.
DeAndre Hunter. Yep. But obviously those guys as role players, and then you got the Twin Towers, with Mobley and Allen. So
Yeah.
they got pieces, and I think Mobley's going to be huge. Like I think Jared Allen is a defensive guy, catch lobs, block shots, rebound, but Mobley has that offensive bag where he can be dangerous. So I think Mitchell, you gotta. I want to say almost defer. I think like you don't got to be the hero. Like get everybody else involved. Let Evan Mobley eat. I think he's obviously a mismatch for Siakam and even Miles Turner. I think so. That's going to be key for Cleveland. But I just think without Garland, 100% now, Indiana's pretty battle tested, especially from last year.
Hmm.
And I crazy, but I trust Tyrese Halliburton more than Donovan Mitchell right now.
Yeah, that's not crazy. Like Tyrese had a down year, but he just has shows up
Tyrese is not
in
he's
the
not afraid of the
playoffs.
big moment. Yep.
Yeah, it's almost like a Jamal Murray-ish effect thing. I think he's a little more consistent during the regular season, but just like whatever reason, especially like you go back to the closeout game against Milwaukee, right? Hits the go-ahead bucket, and it's like he just seems to have a knack of making the play. Um,
Yeah, he went in against
so
Giannis too.
yeah, so got it. I respect Indiana, but I really think that Cleveland has kind of learned from their past playoff experiences, and yeah, they'll come out ahead.
I could see this one going seven.
Yeah.
I think Indiana in seven.
Uh, okay. Well, I'll go the Cavs in seven, Matt. This other series though, very interesting as well. The Knicks steal one in the Garden, or
Literally.
yeah, uh, it is the Garden, right? They're playing the bot. Is
TD
it
Garden.
TD Garden? Yeah,
Yeah, you got
not
TD
not
Garden and
Madison Square
Madison Square
Garden,
Garden.
but yeah, in Boston, steal game one. Boston up 20. Um, I mean, how do I say this, Matt?
Oh yeah, here we
Um,
go. Here we go.
like
Here we go.
at least I have my hate watches, like if you're on like basketball Twitter at all, you know what a hate watch is. It's essentially you're just rooting for the downfall of a certain team. And obviously being a Lakers fan, why would I want the Celtics to win? I don't want the Celtics to win. I want them to lose. So I'm cheering for the Knicks, obviously. Just makes it that much sweeter. When last year I had to give all this praise to Jason Tatum about how he's a winner and blah 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 blah. Okay, yeah, you're a champion, Jason Tatum. But going back to that finals last year, who's the finals MVP? Yeah, Jaylen Brown, I think, was the finals MVP, right? So I think that means he was essentially the best player for the Celtics during the championship run. I don't know. Isn't that what the finals MVP means, Matt? They were the best player in the
Yeah, I
finals,
guess
right?
so.
So here you go, Jason Tatum. Your chance at redemption again. Another chance, I should say, on a team, your team that is still extremely loaded with talent. Not too many changes from last year, for being honest. And you have a chance, game one. Uh, Seems like a game that the Knicks would probably lose over the past several years, Matt. But first of all, to give them credit, and Tom Thibodeau, and we know the minutes his guys get. But to go into overtime and to hit big shots and make big plays down the stretch, huge. Mikal Bridges showing why he was worth 5 first round picks essentially. Because I always kind of forget about the defense of Mikal Bridges that he's an elite defender as well. Makes a game saving play, um, stripping Jaylen Brown. But Jason Tatum, I think I saw a stat, Matt, that said in overtime and in the fourth quarter, Jason Tatum had 2 points, shot 1 for 9. Sorry, 4 points. My bad. It was doubled what I said. He had 4 points, 1 for 9, with chances to, put the Knicks away essentially, but couldn't do it. Um, and I think the most frustrating thing is because I thought we learned this lesson, Jason, from last year, from the finals, from heck, even USA basketball. Matt, do you know how tall Jason Tatum is? I think they
He's
have
like
him listed at
6'9", 6'10".
6'10". 6'10", Matt. And I know we play this 5 out thing in Boston and we take a lot of threes, right? But he's like 6'8", 6'9", 6'10". Let's use that driving ability to get into the paint, maybe draw a foul, go attack the rim. But no, I'm just gonna dance, 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 shoot a contested step back three when clearly I don't have it going. It's one thing when you got it going, right? When you have the stroke down. But when I'm bricking everything, why am I going to continue to shoot these potentially contested step back threes with the game on the line? Like, honestly, right? Um, and I know he can do the dirty work. We've seen that. He's going to go get rebounds. He's going to pass the ball, make the right play. So can we just drive the ball? Like be physical when all we need is a bucket, right? When we're down big and we need to start just chucking threes, I get it. I really get it. But when it's a close game and we just need a bucket, how about let's not take the contested sidestep three every single time down the court? Maybe just a thought. Just throwing it out there, Matt. Uh,
Oh man, the
but
Jason
yeah,
Tatum war never ends with you.
yeah. But Jalen Brunson, hell of a game. Got to tip my cap to him. Like I said, OG Anunoby, huge game. Um, And this Knicks team, they're not going to quit. We know that for sure. This team isn't going to quit. And with how clutch Jalen Brunson has been, I mean, I think we saw that with him being voted clutch player of the year this year in the NBA. So this team is ready, Matt. And I think if, like I said, the only concern with New York is the lack of attrition sometimes, right? When they're playing the minutes that they're playing, it gets a little scary. But if they can keep, the key guys out on the court, um, this is a scary Knicks team. And you know what? I'll just say it. Give me the Knicks. I'm taking the Knicks in this series. I think I think OG and Mikhail are going to be big difference makers. We know the kind of player that Josh Hart is. I think if Cat just gets a little more aggressive offensively too, I'm taking Cat over Al Horford. I know Al Horford's still a really good defender, but I'm gonna take Karl Anthony Towns any day over Al Horford right now. So heck, if these key guys stay healthy for the Knicks, dude, yeah, give me the Knicks. I don't care. Give me the Knicks.
Okay. Well, I'm still gonna take the Celtics after one game. Um, they're they're the defending champs. Like, I don't think they're panicking. Are they disappointed? Yes, of course. They let one get away. Um, but you, as a defending champ, you're not afraid to go win a game or maybe two on the road. I expect Boston to come back in game two, take care of business, and then it's all about, winning one of those next two games on the road. I think you go back 2-2, game five in Boston. I think you're in a good position right there. Um, but the Celtics, you're harsh on Tatum, and yes, he didn't play great. But overall, nobody really shot the ball great. Like they had that stretch in the second quarter, I think, with Pritchard, honestly, six man of the year from Oregon, kind of leading the charge a little bit. But really outside of that, Boston was awful shooting the three. I think they missed what? They missed 45 3-point shots. That is horrible. Horrible shooting. So maybe Joe Mizzou. I mean, I know his thing is going to live by the three and die by the three. They play the five out. That's just the way it is. But when you got Tatum, you got Jaylen Brown, heck, even Derek White, Peyton Pritchard is a little slippery too. Like, guys, we don't have to shoot every single 3-point possible. Like, we got a five out offense for a reason. That means guys can beat their man one on one and go for a blow by. And then from there, if they collapse the paint, then you can kick it out in the corner or swing it to the wing for a three. Um, but I just thought Boston was shooting pretty contested 3-pointers. So it's more about just getting the open 3-point shots, I think, in game two. But I think some of those shots are going to start falling. And obviously, Boston, if they start hitting a few, they can go on that dangerous run and blow teams out. So I'm not gonna jump off the Boston bandwagon after one game. Um, I don't know. I still don't know about the Knicks, to be honest. Like Brunson was great, and given the fact that Boston was pretty bad shooting, like they can't be this bad for three more games. You say so?
Oh, don't care. Knicks in six. It
Knicks in
rhymes. So,
six?
yep,
Holy.
on it.
Yeah, well, I think I know why. It's obviously you're a Lakers fan, but
No, because they have
you're
the
even
clutch player of the year
yeah,
and
but
on
you're
their team, and they have a guy that went 1 for 9 in the fourth and overtime on the other team, and that's all it comes down to.
oh,
Like,
okay.
which superstar am I counting on to show up when the lights are the brightest? But see, that's the thing about Jason Tatum. He doesn't even need to because he's going to have Derek White that's going to hit a big shot. He's going to have Jalen Brunson that's going to hit a big shot. He has Drew Holiday that's going to come up with a defensive stop or an offensive rebound or something like that. So what does Jason Tatum have to do? Just not go 1 for 9. I mean, like, how much easier does it get to be like as a superstar on, a championship level team? It's like just play your normal game and you can win. You don't got to put on the cape or anything.
Yeah, that's why
You know what I
Boston's
mean?
is gonna win still.
Yeah, but I'm saying like if this is the consistent performance we're gonna get from Jason Tatum in the fourth quarter, like I don't know, man. Give me Jalen Brunson in that case, if that's what it's gonna come down to. So we'll
Well,
see.
if you're looking at it that way, like yeah, of course Jalen Brunson is gonna hit more shots in the fourth quarter in crunch time, but I feel like Boston is that one the exception where they're so good, like deep depth wise. Like anybody can be the hero. Like to your point, Jason Tatum doesn't have to. He's not gonna go, four straight buckets in the fourth quarter. He's not gonna do that. But is he gonna play this bad for another 3 games? I
He
don't know.
might.
Maybe one, maybe two. I don't know. But I just think Boston is too deep. Like Derek White didn't shoot the ball great. Jaylen Brown was terrible, by the way, in this game. Um, and you
Oh, I'm
said
not a
he's the
huge
best
Jalen
player.
Brown. I mean, I'm not a huge Jalen Brown fan either. Like
Well, I
just
mean,
make
he
him to
lost to
left, right,
Hawaii,
and
so I mean,
exactly. So
I
I'm not,
mean,
I'm just a
Drew
I'm just a
Holiday's a
Boston hater.
champion.
I am a Boston hater. I'm not gonna hide that. Obviously, being a
Yeah,
Lakers fan,
and
I do
I
not
get
like the
that.
Boston Celtics. Um,
I get that.
and
Totally understand.
and I have respect for Jason Tatum. I do. I
I,
said it last year.
I don't
He
think
earned
so.
my respect.
No, you
He
don't.
earned my respect. I told you this, Matt. I
That
told
is
you
a
he earned my
lie.
respect by doing the dirty work, rebounding and all this stuff. But if you're gonna harm your team by forcing shots like that, am I wrong here? I don't think I'm being biased at all. In this game one, Matt. Like, if you're gonna harm your team, like I said, if you're on a heater or you hit a couple shots and you want to take these contested side step threes, okay. I'll even go to X. And in that closeout game 5, he was harming his team. I'm just chucking 0 for 11 in a closeout game. Like essentially the same thing. It's just that, Minnesota was able to close out the Lakers. Boston couldn't close out New York in game one, right? Like it's kind of the same performance. Ant didn't do anything. He was actually farming his team with all the shots he was breaking up. But they were able to overcome that. Boston just wasn't able to go overcome Jason Tatum going 1 for 9 in the fourth and overtime. That's just facts. I don't think I'm being wrong. I'm like being subjective or anything. That's just how it played out. So, uh, anyway, yeah, Knicks
We
and
need
six,
one.
like
We
I
need one
said,
of.
let's go New York. That's
we
all I'm
need.
saying.
We need one of those segments where like Skip Bayless. He said like 20 nice things about LeBron. Like you have to do
Dude,
that.
I like Jason Tatum
It's
too.
so funny.
Is he a little cringy to me at times? Sure, but who cares, man? Like that's just my opinion. Doesn't matter what I think. Like that's just my opinion. I think he's a good dude. I think he's a good person. He's obviously a champion. You can't take that away from him. Gold medalist and all this stuff. But like it's almost like if he wasn't on such a talented team, how well would he be? Or like how good would he be? I don't know. Kind of hard to tell. Um, Anyway, before I talk about this all night, let's wrap up basketball talk, Matt, with the Western Conference side. Uh, so we'll obviously uh Timberwolves and Warriors are the last game yet to have been played. Um, but so I guess that means we'll have to start with the Nuggets and the Thunder, which I turned off this game, Matt, because I thought it was over. I thought the Thunder were up big late, double digit lead late in the fourth. I'm like, okay, well, that's wraps. Maybe Denver can steal game one. I checked back on Twitter and I'm seeing Aaron Gordon hit a game winning three. So obviously, must have been a collapse from the Thunder. Um, but to keep it short for me, Matt, I'm kind of more on board with how you were feeling um, about Boston. Like the one game isn't gonna completely derail the series. I'm gonna go. I think this series is also gonna go seven, which I think is gonna hurt Denver in the next or whoever goes on to the next round if Denver somehow gets out. But I think I'm gonna stick to the Thunder in seven because I think they have kind of learned from the past, right? Like last year, so promising, run into Luca. They're not ready for the moment in the playoffs. I think they've kind of learned from that. I still like the Alex Caruso and Hartenstein pickups from this offseason. I think that'll help them out a lot, Matt. So I'm gonna go with the Thunder in seven, but I mean, there's just no denying Nikola Jokic. Um, and no one on that team is gonna be able to guard him. So I don't think that they will collapse like that again the rest of the way going forward. But I'm gonna go Thunder in seven. I think they take somewhat of a leap and go on to the Western Conference Finals. But I think this is also gonna be a really good series. If this game one was indicative of anything. So
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm gonna agree with you on this one too. Kind of pretending that game one didn't happen. Um, I would pick OKC going into this series. SGA is taking that next step, and then even looking into this game one, Jokic is just a monster, just ridiculous game. Um, but even with that, like he had, I don't want to say a typical Jokic game, but it was a good game, very very Jokic-esque in big moments. But it took a Aaron Gordon three on the run at the end of the game to even just win the game. But he misses that. We're not even having this conversation, I think. But it took all that to beat OKC. And did OKC play well? Like I'll say, yeah, at times they look great, but I think they could play better, honestly. I didn't watch the entire game, but I saw the highlights and bits and pieces of it. Just things that they have to clean up. Like, is Chet Holmgren gonna miss two free throws at the end again? No. Like, and also I don't understand. Maybe it's just me being picky, but like when he's at the line, he was just sitting like the rhythm. Like he just kind of stops, holds the ball for like 4 seconds, and then he shoots it.
Yeah.
It's like I don't
It
know.
was a
I
long
feel
pause.
like
I thought my video was like buffering. I was like,
yeah. I was like,
what's going
holy
on?
cow.
And
Yeah. So
also, I don't get it either, but none of them crashed the glass at all. I don't know if you noticed that too. Like it
yeah.
was off the miss, it's everyone back. But that almost like they didn't match up or something enough in transition. Because if you're gonna drop back like that, how is Russ running down the court wide open?
Hmm.
And how is Aaron Gordon on the other side running down the court wide open? I don't know if they just weren't prepared for the miss or what, but it's like, okay, if we're gonna get back, let's match up at least, right? And make sure that no one leaks open, but I'm seeing the missed free throw, and all the Thunder players bail out and like start running the other way. But how are we letting guys get wide open? I don't understand exactly what happened there. Um, but yeah, the I don't know if that's Chet just trying thinking too much. It's like okay, let me slow down. Collect myself. But I think sometimes too, right? Like when it's like the open receiver, right?
You
Like
think too
when you
much.
have too much time and that ball is floating in the air, right? You start to overthink it just a little bit too much. Where it's kind of like if it's an in rhythm thing and you don't have time to think or react, you're just going straight off muscle motion or muscle memory, I should say. It's a little bit different, but I'm gonna think okay, so we're both gonna take the Thunder in seven. Um, yeah, as great as the Joker is, I just think that lack of that third ball handler creator is gonna come back to bite him in the end. So we'll see. But I mean, still got Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., Christian Brown is taking steps, but yeah, give me the Thunder. I agree. Um, And then Matt, the last series that hasn't been played yet, but probably will have been played by the time this comes out tomorrow. Wolves and Warriors. So I think Matt, I know you're very impressed by the Warriors. I think I was more impressed by the Timberwolves with how they played and were able to win in spite of a poor Anthony Edwards game, especially in that last one. Um, Jaden McDaniels, he has evolved so far in that from that first series. Offensively, I thought he looked really, really good. And Julius Randle, I think the step that he's taken now, because Julius Randle, I don't want to say was starting to get that like, overrated role necessarily, but we saw what happened in New York, right? It didn't work out. Kind of like, okay, how's he going to do this year? The Timberwolves up and down throughout the whole year. His play pretty inconsistent too, but when it was time, he stepped up big and he was hitting big buckets for the Timberwolves down the stretch. And I think if he's going to be a consistent piece, Matt, I don't think Ant is gonna play that port. Like he might have one really atrocious game like that, but if this team is built enough to where they can win in spite of that's a scary sight. I think. Um, we saw his willingness to pass out of the doubles now. And it helps when you have a Julius Randle that can create. You have Mike Conley to facilitate uh, the depth that they have. Jaden McDaniels, Nikhil Alexander Walker. You haven't really even talked about Naj Reid hitting big shots, right? And if Gobert is going to finally look to be aggressive and exploit the matchups, I mean, who it's going to be Draymond. That'll be a fun thing to watch. But realistically, right? Like, um, if Gobert is going to be aggressive like that, and a guy like Kevon Looney or Quentin Post isn't on the floor, what size do the Warriors have, right? So I don't know. I think I like the Wolves in this one, Matt. I'm gonna go Wolves in six.
Wolves in six. This is a toss up. Um, Pretty evenly matched, I think, but I'm gonna lean towards the Warriors. Obviously, one, experience. Two, I think that Rocket series almost helps the Warriors kind of prep for the Timberwolves because I see a little bit of similarities with the kind of players that they have. Like the Rockets, you got Şengün, you got Adam. Sometimes they play two bigs, right? The Timberwolves, probably the only other team that's going to maybe do that. Oh, I guess the Thunder with Chet and Hartenstein or the Cavs. But the point is, not a lot of teams in this day and era have like two big bigs. Um, but Timberwolves got Gobert, you got Randall, you can throw Naz Reid in there. So you got really three quote unquote centers in a sense um, to anchor the paint down there. But the Rockets with Şengün, Adams, those are two pretty bulky dudes. And the Warriors were able to figure out how to at least contain them enough to survive that series. And then you look at guys like Amen Thompson, Dylan Brooks, Jalen Green, even like lengthy, athletic wings. Timberwolves are kind of the same thing. They got Jaden McDaniels, you got Alexander Walker, you got obviously Ant, DiVincenzo. So they're kind of that scrappy mold that can make threes, hit a couple shots. Obviously, Ant is different because he's the number one option. But I think the Warriors are ready now. Like they got a little taste of it with the Rockets. So it's almost a little bit of the same kind of game plan. But the only difference is Anthony Edwards is the number one option for the Timberwolves team,
I
and
was gonna say, I think that's gonna
he is a different beast
like
than
he ain't no
Jalen
Jalen Green.
Green.
Yeah, he ain't no Jalen Green, and he's now been in situations last year where they upset the Nuggets, right? And I mean, even looking at USA basketball, I think the confidence that he has and the level he's taken that next level jump to realizing that teams are going to double him, teams are going to treat him like that number one option and get the ball out of his hands, and he's okay with understanding how teams are going to play him and being able to pivot off of that. And then when he does end up getting the one-on-one matchups, yeah, it's not Jalen Green out there. It's Ant Edwards, who, I mean, I know Draymond's a hell of a defender, but he's a handful for anyone, I think, in the league one-on-one. Doesn't matter who it is, right? So
Yep.
yeah, that's why I said I was about to say, yeah, I get the similarities, but yeah, Ant Edwards ain't no Jalen Green. That no one on Houston
Yeah.
ain't no Ant Edwards. So
And
that's
truthfully, I
gonna
don't think
be
anybody's gonna stop Anthony Edwards. Like nobody on the Lakers is gonna stop Anthony Edwards one on one. Nobody on the Warriors, I think, even Draymond is gonna stop Anthony Edwards one on one. It's team defense, and I just think the Warriors are very good with team defense, and it starts with Draymond, like he's the anchor of the team. But I just think with him, Jimmy Butler, like they can collectively as a unit figure out a way to contain Ant. Like Jalen Green, inexperienced, that you can kind of, you know, you don't need that team defense in a sense. Like he's gonna shoot you out the game sometimes. Um, but I just think the Warriors are built. Obviously, with Steph, he can go off at any time. That's why I think he's the best closer in this game right now. That's currently still in the playoffs. Um,
yeah.
like I know Jalen Brunson is, that guy this year, but Steph is he's just different, I think,
No, and
right now.
I get that, Matt. But my only thing is like I'm not counting on Buddy Hield to go out and have that performance every single night. And I think with the Timberwolves, you need a third option. And so outside of Jimmy and Steph, where's the offense going to come from? We're going to rely on Pajemski? Like, is it going to be Buddy Hield on a consistent basis? I don't know if I trust that. Um, and I think that the Wolves just have too many guys that they can throw at you defensively. I mean, Jaden McDaniels and Nickeil Alexander Walker essentially play the same game, right? Um, two really good players. So I don't know. That's why I think it's Timberwolves, but we'll see.
You know,
It'll be a fun series.
yeah, I think Warriors in seven, but you know what I think is really going to be interesting, and I think this might be the guy that can make or break the series is Gobert. Like,
Probably
I think if
Gobert again.
Gobert, yeah, like I think if
I mean,
Gobert has a good series and dominates inside, just getting rebounds and stuff and giving that second chance, that's going to be huge because the
I'm
Warriors are relatively small, but I think they're a
yeah.
better team defensively than the Lakers are. Like, I think you have to agree with that. And it starts with Draymond, obviously.
Yeah, I think well, I'm taking Draymond and Jimmy over what Rui and Luca, I get or Doe, so yeah, if my top two defenders are Jimmy and Draymond versus Dorian Finney-Smith and Rui LeBron or LeBron, I guess even, I'm probably gonna go with Jimmy and Draymond. So yeah,
You know what? I'll
it'll
say
be
Warriors in
interesting, but
six. Warriors in six.
Origin six, not yeah, I'm going Wolves in six. Um, but I guess we'll see. We'll see how it shakes out. Plus, it's all just gonna be fun to watch Draymond and Gobert go at it. Like
That's true. He
Draymond
hates
hates
the
every
Europeans.
yeah, he does. So looking forward to at least one scrap. We'll probably get it in game one, to be honest. So
Oh, guarantee.
yeah, we'll see. I'm looking forward to the boxing match though. Okay. Well, I think that's enough basketball, man. We talked a lot of basketball, so we can get over to some quick baseball stuff here. I know you're pretty upset because I know Wade's been upset about the Yankees and how they've been playing. I haven't talked to him about today's game yet, so I'm sure it's just going to add on to the frustrations. But Yankees were kind of up and down. Aaron Judge is a beast, but yeah, I think you need to figure out that bullpen of yours, partner.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's so deceiving. Like we're in the AL East and we're still somehow in first place by a game and a half, but we're not playing good baseball. We're not a playoff caliber team right now. We're just lucky that the guys in the division have not hit their stride yet. That's literally what it's come down to. Like I look at the Tigers, they're playing pretty well. Even the Mariners are playing pretty well out west. And we obviously know Houston, Cleveland's gonna be in there. Kansas City with Bobby Witt's gonna be in there at the end of the day. I mean, Texas had a hot start, cooled off a little bit, but they got talent. It's just this team just I don't understand. Makes me sick. We got some bad decisions, I think, with Aaron Boone. Going back to the Rays series and on Sunday, they're down. Um, you got bases loaded, nobody out, chance to get back in the game, and we let JC Escara hit instead of pulling a pinch hitter when you have Austin Wells on the bench. And most importantly, you have Ben Rice on the bench. He didn't start that day. Like, what's the point? And then you pinch hit Ben Rice a batter later, or sorry, two batters later. Like that just makes no sense. I don't understand the logic from Boone. Like you're gonna trust your backup catcher to come through in that situation, especially late in the game. Like it's not like he's the only catcher on the roster. You technically got two guys on the bench that can catch. One of them is hitting the ball really well right now, so give him a swing. And sure enough, he taps out to the pitcher, goes 1, 2, 3, double play, kills the potential big inning. Um, like those things come back to haunt you sometimes. Um, but really, it's been the bullpen. The bullpen has been the most frustrating thing, and it was highlighted again today's game with the Padres. Again, we're up late in the game, eighth inning, and lo and behold, Devin Williams, another choke job. So I really don't know how much more of this I can actually take. It is
Yeah, now it's
actually,
not funny anymore.
it's not even, it's like every time he comes in, it's like, I don't want to say I hope something bad doesn't happen, but it's like I almost expect something bad to happen at this point. Like it feels maybe I'm just in the moment, but it feels worse than the whole Clay Holmes thing. Like I don't know. Like weirdly, Clay Holmes could pitch in every single inning for the Yankees except the ninth inning. He was horrible in the ninth, great in everything else. But Williams, I mean, now we're seeing some kind of trend. It's not just the ninth. It's now the eighth. And it's not like he had like a 1 run lead. Like, you're going in with 3, 4 run leads. Like, come on. Like, you just, what is the worst thing you can do? like as a pitcher, that as a coach, the thing that would frustrate me the most is when you have a lead, 3 runs, 4 runs, really any lead, is when you
Walks. Yep.
walk a guy. When you just you walk a dude, especially up multiple runs, you cannot walk a dude. Like that's just not good because walk starts rallies, and in the playoffs, when you get a walk as an offensive team, you have a rally. Whether it's 2 outs and a walk, you have a rally. Like walks are just so killer in baseball, and it's like especially who he walked to. You walk Tyler Wade, our old friend Tyler Wade. Tyler Wade is not going to be a guy hitting 40 bombs a year. Like we know Tyler Wade. I don't care if you throw it fastball down the middle. Just let him hit the ball. If he gets a hit, great. At least, but you can defend against a ball in play. I can't defend against 4 balls in the dirt or out of the strike zone. You walk him, you walk Luis Arise, who's not a power hitter by nature. Like, attack him. Yeah, he might get a hit, but that's not going to lose you the game when you're up 3-0, right? The guys you got to be careful of, Tatis, Machado, but if they're not home run hitters, that's the kind of guys you have to just attack the zone. Like, just if they beat you, so what? Live with the result, play the odds. But the walks just kill you. And sure enough, you walk multiple guys, someone gets a blooper, you got bases loaded, and then you're asking your closer to be put in a tough situation. Granted, Weaver has been pretty good, but it was bound to happen for Luke Weaver. I'm not even honestly mad at Luke Weaver because he's been absolutely flawless. I think that's the first runs he's given up all or first runs he's given up all year. So that's a pass right there. Um, I'm not gonna kill him for one bad outing because everybody's gonna have moments, but when you consistently have bad outings and you're choking games, that is a
Yeah.
major problem.
Yeah. I don't know what
Um,
you do with Devin Williams. Good luck.
like I don't know, like we've had guys like Mark Leiter Jr., Fernando Cruz, and Tim Hill, they've been pretty damn solid for the most part in the back as high leverage relievers for us. So right there, that's 3 guys that can get you three innings of work. And then obviously you build the bridge to get to Luke Weaver. So that's 4 innings if you have a fully loaded bullpen to navigate. Like, I mean, it's not the greatest bullpen, but they've been doing the job so far. So if I'm Aaron Boone, I really don't know what to do at this point. I can't just keep throwing him out late in these games. Um, but the one thing now, trying to just help the guy for God's sake, is maybe I just try him as an opener. I don't know. Maybe on a start, like when Carrasco pitches or Will Warren pitches, maybe Devin Williams throw the first inning. Because heck, if he blows that one, at least we got 9 at bats after that to overcome it, not just 1 or 2 at bats at the end of the game. Like that's that's the only silver lining I have at this point, like other than pitching in garbage time. But the Yankees refuse to do that. So if you want to give him, I guess, respect, like that's probably the next best thing at this point. You can't DFA him. You can't send him down to the minors. So it's either one of those 2 things. And if he just keeps underperforming, then well, we just wasted a lot of money on this bum for nothing. So just I've honestly had enough already. I can't see him late in the games already. Um, it needs to be opener or literally low leverage, inning eating kind of garbage time duties because we have 5 losses. We lead the majors with 5 losses when having the lead in the 8th inning or later. You go 4-1 in those games, we're looking a lot. Our record looks a lot different. Heck, even 3-2 looks a lot different for us. And I imagine 5-0. I mean, we wouldn't have any noise basically. Like we'd be like, oh wow, Aaron Judge is so good, Max Fried. Oh, everything's great. But maybe it's a good thing because now it shows how many flaws we have with this team. The pitching has been awful. outside of Max Fried and Carlos Rodon lately has been outstanding. Kind of disappointed that we couldn't get the win for him because he was shutting down the Padres like nothing. But outside of Rodon in the last four starts and Fried, we basically lose every game that the other guys pitch. And if Aaron Judge isn't doing Aaron Judge things, then we can't score really because the guy that's killing me is Bellinger right now. He just probably the worst middle of the order hitter in baseball. But Aaron Boone refuses to play Jason Dominguez against righties. I don't understand because it's set up so perfectly for this platoon thing because you're obviously going to play Judge. Trent Grisham has earned playing time. Like he has clearly earned it. You keep him in there at center field. So Ben Rice is the DH. Obviously Goldschmidt's hitting. You got to keep him in. It's Bellinger or Dominguez, and whoever's hitting to me should be playing most of the time. And right now, Bellinger is getting unlimited run. Dominguez doesn't get any at bats. It's like Jason Dominguez as a lefty is hitting over 300. As a righty, not very good. So if you want a platoon there, I understand. But just the decisions have not been good from Boone and with that platoon. So I'm not obviously hyped as I was last year with Soto. And I said this in the preseason in our predictions. We're not a World Series team as currently constructed. I truly stand by that. So it's really going to come down to can Aaron Judge and Max Fried and Luke Weaver literally just kind of keep us afloat to give us some kind of punching chance at the trade deadline to go make a splash trade, go get a Alcantara, go get. Obviously, now we need a reliever now at the end of the bullpen. Can we get a Ryan Helsley or somebody that we can trade for that's a dominant arm out of the back end? So there's just so many things wrong in Yankee land right now that doesn't make it look as bad because we're in first place in the junk division right now. So yeah, life sucks. Life sucks as a Yankees fan right now.
Well, at least you guys are still in first place, so it's not like it's the end of the world.
Yeah,
Um,
but it is when you're. I'd rather be in second place and playing great baseball than be in first place than looking like shit at this
I
point
get
in the
you.
season.
Well, it's only May, so you got a lot of time between now and when meaningful baseball starts. Which is why I don't get too high, obviously, on the Dodgers. I think you could say we're playing like at our we're not firing on all cylinders. Starting pitching health is something I think that is going to be a concern. Uh, High leverage guys with the bullpen have been pretty consistent, though. I'm not going to complain too much about those guys. Ben Kasparius, and Jack Dreyer have been bright spots for the bullpen as well. So nothing to complain about there. Teo was on a tear. He's hitting above 300. Unfortunately, tweaks his hamstring. So not sure. Sounds like it might be an extended period of time, which is going to suck. Because boy, am I glad. Like, how long was I saying this offseason? Let's re-sign Teoscar Hernandez. I felt like I was saying it over and over and over again. And he's so far rewarded this team by uh, we're about a month or a little over a month, I think, into the season now, and leads the league in RBIs. He's hitting what 315. So I'd say yeah, that's a pretty good start to the season for Teo. Our most consistent, well, been the best run producer in the league thus far, even better than Aaron Judge, believe it or not. And he's on a tear. I guess it helps when guys get on in front of you, so that probably does help when you hit the ball. And yeah, top of the lineup, I think Mookie's finally getting back on track, which is good to see. Freddie's on a tear. Shohei's been pretty consistent, hovering right around 300. Still stealing bases, actually. I think he's on a better pace in the same amount of games, home run wise and stolen base wise than he was last year, which is kind of crazy because it feels like the hype isn't as much. But I think he has like 9 home runs and like 8 stolen bases or something like that already. So he's on a pretty good pace, I would say, thus far. Um, I think if the bottom half can somewhat get it going, thank God for Andy Pajes, by the way. Dude,
You're complaining about him though.
oh, I was 100% complaining about him, but I mean, he has really held down that bottom of the lineup. I don't know what happened. I don't know if they had to drug test him or what, but dude figured out how to hit the baseball, and I'm so grateful for it. Because he's hitting like below 200. He's all the way up to 277 now on the year. His defense has improved, I would say as well too. He has a cannon. It's just some of the tracking has been an issue, but I think he's been a little bit more consistent. Um, Conforto's been a tough watch. And now with Teo gone, if Chris Taylor or Kike is going to get more playing time, that might be a little bit tough too. But should still be fine. Um, but the exciting call up, obviously, Hyesung Kim made his debut against the Braves, and I knew he was fast, but he is really adds a different layer of speed to this Dodgers team. Aggressive base running, which you like to see, causing havoc out there. And I mean, got his first two big league hits today off of Sandy Alcantara. So if he can be that, we've been kind of searching for a guy to be the 9 spot. Because let me just say this, Matt. So far on the year, I think Shohei has 8 home runs and he has 12 RBIs. Oh, sorry, 9 home runs, 13 RBIs. So that just tells you that's a lot of solo home runs right there, right? So if we could start getting guys from the bottom of the lineup on base when he hits those home runs, that'd be pretty good. Because, when he's tied for seventh in home runs, but he's tied for 127th in RBIs. That's a problem. I think, not much needs to be said there, but yeah. So I'm not stressing too much. If our pitching can just get healthy, it'll be good. Dustin May, I think teams are kind of figuring him out a little bit now. See how he will adjust. Tony Gonsolin making the return, I think, is huge. But I still think this rotation, when we are fully loaded, is a threat. Yoshi's off to a Cy Young start thus far. I think if the season ended today, he would win the Cy Young, without a doubt. And then your boy Max Fried on the other side would also probably be the top guy. So it's looking good for Yoshi. But man, if this team can get healthy, and we have him, we have Snell, we have Glass now. You can go to Gonsolin, you can go to May, and then Roki or something like a 6-man rotation. Yeah, that'll be a fun that'll be a fun rotation to watch, I think for sure. So, and we're still I keep forgetting, but we're missing guys like Gavin Stone, who was a stud for us last year. Um, you know, River Ryan, another rookie. So nothing. Don't want to get too high. Don't want to get too low on the Dodgers. Um, I like where we're at. I like the things we're doing. Hopefully, we can just continue to stay healthy, and yeah, we'll see how things go from there, Matt. But I think we can call it here, Matt, because it's been another long pod. Doesn't help that we had or I had my rant in the beginning, so I know that took out a lot of time. But anyway, we'll go ahead and call it on baseball, and we'll get to our quick hitters here.
All right, Jerry Jones Award winner this week. I'm going to give it to Abdul Carter of the now, I can't say Penn State, but New York Giants, because came out in a report that Mr. Carter requested a specific jersey number from the Giants. It was not 11, his college number, but he wanted to be Lawrence Taylor. And just kind of questionable that you would ask to be Lawrence Taylor, wear his jersey when you haven't taken a snap on an NFL field yet. Like, I love the confidence, but I would think we would have a little bit of respect for, probably you could make a case the greatest defensive player to ever play. Just
Yeah,
yeah.
I would say that's a pretty
Honestly,
good
I
case.
mean,
I mean,
yeah.
he's
So
up there. It's a
I
short
think
list.
you have to earn the right to even be in the conversation to think about wearing Lawrence Taylor's number if you're on the Giants, and you're going to have a hell of a career to even have that conversation. So as a rookie, back off. You should have just wore 11. Just stay simple. So come on, Abdul. Got to be better than that.
Yeah. He's doing a little bit too much talking for a guy that's never taken a
Oh,
snap yet in the
hey,
league.
like I said, Micah Parsons 2.0.
Just saying, I don't know.
Micah
But
Parsons 2.0. He's going to start a podcast in a couple of seasons too.
yeah, probably. Um, but I think for my fan tribute, I wanted to go with the UH team, baseball team, because they played Oregon State. So I was like, well, maybe if they split, that'd be pretty good. At least they didn't get swept. They won one game, so not bad. But I think instead, Matt, I'm gonna shout out. I'm gonna shout out my boy Rui. I know I talked to about him earlier, but really was the bright spot offensively. I think for the team, for the Lakers team that struggled shooting the ball, and deservedly so. I think he caught a lot of heat over the past several years, but I think that's a couple playoff series now where he's shown that when it's time to show up, he's not afraid of the moment. And he's going to shoot the ball with confidence. And he's a pretty good shooter. I think I saw he's now like a 48% 3-point shooter in the playoffs. And that's over a decent amount of games. So want to give him his flowers because I think he's been, faced his fair share of criticism. I think somewhat deservedly so, but want to give him some love because I didn't give a lot of love to a lot of the Lakers. So want to give him his flowers for this year. So I don't know. I hope he comes back next year, but I mean if it means if we get Giannis, hey,
Well, okay.
oh hey AR Rui and I don't know Vando for some picks for Giannis. Is that
What
come
about
on?
Embiid?
Oh please God no, please God. I'll give you away players so you can keep Embiid. Like please no no.
Uh,
Yeah.
that would be pretty. LeBron,
Tragic,
Luca, and
tragic.
Embiid.
Yeah, three guys that uh you know well, I'll say two guys that complain a lot. LeBron doesn't complain as much as Luca, but man, Joel Embiid and Luca, like every single time would be a tough watch. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah, but Embiid would, if he's healthy, he's different. But at the same time, that's if he's healthy.
Anthony Davis played way more than Joel Embiid, and Lakers fans were complaining about Anthony Davis. So let's. I know Rob's smarter than that. I don't even need to. I don't even need to bring it up. I know he's smart enough not to go sell the farm for Joel Embiid. But Giannis, though, hey, Rob, I don't just floating out there. Luca Giannis pick and roll, and we have a paint defender again. Would be kind of nuts to think about. Just just throwing out there.
Yeah, that's King's ransom, though.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if they
but
have enough.
yeah, that's my fan tribute. Shout out Rui.
All right. All right. Last but not least, sports fact. I'll go back to May 5th, 1989, where professional boxer Mike Tyson got his second speeding ticket for drag racing.
Hmm. Slow day, May
Slow
5th,
day.
huh?
Yeah,
Okay,
slow day.
interesting. Okay,
Not
well,
like my Magic Johnson fact
oh God,
that blew up.
yeah. Well, on that note, Matt, I think we'll call it.
Oh,
Pretty
okay, yeah,
long pod.
slow day, slow day.
Yeah, slow day, pretty long pod. So I think we'll call it here. Yeah, thanks guys for listening. Appreciate all the support as usual. Stay safe, have a good weekend or have a good week, and we'll see you guys next week.